So against this background, there are three important decisions that have been taken. And I want to tell you first what these decisions are, and then in my rest of my talk, I will justify these decisions. The first decision was taken on the 9th February 2010 by my very old friend Jairam Ramesh. He was then the Minister of Environment and Forest, when we put a definite moratorium on the release of BT brinjal. I believe, as I hope to be able to show you, that decision was justified. Second, that earlier this month, the Standing Committee of Parliament on Agriculture has given a report on GM crops and has said no field trials at all. So it has expanded what Jairam Ramesh said for BT brinjal to actually all GM crops. And I hope to show you that this decision or recommendation of the Parliamentary Committee, the Standing Committee of Parliament on Agriculture, is totally justified. Third, that we have had in the last couple of years, and as many of you, I'm a member of the Supreme Court nominee Genetic Engineering Approval Committee. We have had over the last couple of years several states that have put a complete ban on field trials in their state of any genetically engineered crop. The Himachal Pradesh, the Bihar, Kerala, Karnataka, Orissa, and we hope very soon that Bengal will do it too. And I will now, in the remaining part of my talk, explain to you why I support these decisions and why I hope that the Parliament will accept the recommendations of its Standing Committee on Agriculture and decide to put a ban on all field trials and GM crops until certain conditions are satisfied, that I hope to be able to outline in my talk. Let's take the case of BT brinjal. The first question that we should ask before we release a crop, a GM crop, is, do we need the GM crop, genetically modified crop? In the case of brinjal, the answer was no. Although no socio-economic survey was done, but it seemed clear that we did not need GM brinjal, BT brinjal, because brinjal is today the cheapest vegetable in India, available round the crop. There has never been deficiency of brinjal. So the lesson is that before we decide to release a GM crop, or even start working on it, we must do a socio-economic survey. If we had done that for cotton, yes, there is a problem with cotton. The bollworm is a serious problem with cotton. Therefore, we need something to tackle that problem. Not so with brinjal. Now, if we do find that there is a problem, and GM crops, putting in a foreign gene into the crop, may be a solution, I believe that we should look at alternatives which are cheaper and less risky. For example, for cotton, there was an alternative, integrated pest management. Integrated pest management was developed for cotton first. And now it has been by ICAR, according to their own report, of which I can give you a copy. They have done this for over 80 crops, including BT brinjal. I have in my collection a large number of papers sponsored by ICAR on showing that integrated pest management works on BT brinjal. Then we have alternatives. We have alternatives of biopesticides. We have alternatives of organic agriculture. And I wonder how many of you are aware that ICAR actually has brought out 5 volumes of over 4,000 traditional practices in agriculture. And this includes biopesticides and integrated pest management. And they have validated over 90 of these practices and cross-validated about 40 of these practices. We are justified in asking this question of ICAR, why are they not actually using these practices? Why did they have to go for BT cotton when IPM, integrated pest management, had worked for cotton according to ICAR's own records? So we must look at whether we have other alternatives. Today we know in Andhra Pradesh 20 million acres is under organic agriculture, under what they call non-pesticide management, where they don't use any chemicals at all. and the yields of cotton there, the best yields of cotton through organic and grown through organic agriculture are just as good as the best yields obtained by using BT cotton. Less risky, of course, when you're using integrated pest management or non-pesticide management in agriculture. So the question you should ask is that when these alternatives existed, why did we have to have BT cotton, which is the only crop that has been permitted release in India, only GM crop, and has completed just 10 years of open release. And why did we, on 14th October 2010, why did the GAC permit BT brinjal to be released? Then, friends, there are other serious problems. You will agree that whenever we release a crop produced through new technologies, just like genetic engineering, we must ensure that there is no adverse effect on human health, on animal health, on soil, and on environment. And as it turns out, in the case of GM crops, there is now a great deal of evidence that didn't exist 10, 15 years ago, that there are very significant adverse effects on human health, on animal health, on agriculture, that is soil, and on environment.